Hello, 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 lovelies. Welcome back. How's everybody in this 1.5 hour break that's been going on since my last live stream? I welcome everybody. Hello to my moderators. Hello, everybody. Everybody is welcome in this chat. Hi, Bam.
Hello.
Please, a warm and loving welcome to Bam from the channel Bam Bam's World.
That's me.
That's you. I'm gonna be interviewing today a little bit about her experiences with the case, about her experiences with the FBI, about her experiences with the CBI, if there were any. Bam, were there
Mm-hmm.
any? Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, without further ado, we're getting right into this. But
Okay.
before we're getting right into this, I must tell you, I don't want any other channel creators named here. I don't want any other channel creators bashed here. I don't want my guest to be bashed. I want my guest to be treated respectful. And yeah, let's do this. Bam, if you wanna just tell us little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I reside in the UK and have been on YouTube for a long time. This is probably going on about the 13th year. I started as a viewer, but a very close friend of mine, uh, his best friend was murdered. And this was a massive news story in America. There was
Oh
a
my.
lot of misinformation that was being allowed to be put out on YouTube. And that was when I stopped being a viewer, just someone that started to post. Um, After that, I found my way to a channel on YouTube called Stay Negative. And a lot of us became friends in Stay Negatives, but there was a divide. Several people fell out with each other, and one lady went her separate ways. She already had a channel of her own, but some of the people that had fallen out with her thought it would be a good idea to contact her place of employment to try and have her sacked. That
Oh,
was when I made my very first video on YouTube, which was directed at her viewers to let them know what was going on and just exactly how she was being harassed behind the scenes. From that, quite a few people had said, oh, we like your accent and we like how you do things. And pardon me, would you think about doing live streams? Which actually wasn't what I wanted to do,
right.
but I paneled up with a lot of people that did crime live streams. My background is criminology, psychology, and medical sciences. So I've got a pretty good grasp on how things are investigated and pretty good grasp on who's done it and why they've done it. So I would panel up from time to time to help guys out with the presentations, which was how we came to the Chris Watts case. The channel that I was paneling up on at the time was asked if she would cover the Watts case, and she didn't want to do it. So quite a few of her subscribers, well, we shared subs, and they
Right.
said, well, would you do a live stream on it, Bam? And for obvious reasons now, I didn't want to do it, but
Oh
I
yeah.
thought, yeah, okay, I'll do it. We'll go ahead and do it, which was probably the biggest mistake that I've ever made on YouTube
You know what? I
because, sorry, we had
absolutely.
been in contact with the authorities by this stage. And we
Oh,
just shouldn't have done a live stream, but we thought, well, we'll be able to handle this. If we'd have known what we were getting into, we would never have put that live stream on. But that was how this all began. So,
Right. Yeah, I agree with you totally. If I would have known what I know now,
Yes.
um, I honestly, especially of what has developed over the past week or so,
Mm-hmm.
I would have never got myself into this ever.
Yes.
This case is, to me, I started it, because I thought much misinformation and I wanted to, with the data and stuff, I wanted to get it right because I felt like, oh, something is not right here. And,
Mm-hmm.
you and I, we're totally different people. We have totally different opinions, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know my opinion. I think somebody else was involved, most
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's just how I feel, given what I heard. Of course, I watched many, many YouTube videos on that case. There were
Yes.
many more than there are now, right? Not so many these days anymore doing that case. But yeah, if I would have known, no. No, absolutely not. You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It tends to come with a lot of trouble, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm in exactly the same frame of mind as you, because our channel ticked along quite quietly up until we got
Absolutely. And I
involved
mean,
in this.
and still, we're different. I'm different than you. We have different opinions, and yet we're here talking normally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is what it should be like, right?
Yeah.
So came across Bam's channel because I was interested in the Myra Hindley case. Big, massive case from the 60s, I believe, 60s, 70s.
Yes. The
Um,
late 60s. Yeah.
right, Myra Hindley and Ian Brady. And yeah, this is how I came across your channel. And then I saw some stuff you did about your experience with the FBI in Colorado and about, uh, the whole case.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would just um, telling people or the audience about your experience from the start.
Certainly. Okay. So, as you all know, the Watts case happened in August 2018, and it began to pick up a lot of social media interest around October time. Now, when I said we, I meant my friend Cindy. Cindy spent 25 years as a pediatric oncology specialist in the United States. So when this case hit in America, it distressed her greatly. Um, I was aware of the case simply because of YouTube. And Cindy had asked me, do you want to, look into this? I wasn't interested. I didn't want to. But it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And around, I believe it was the end of October, she said to me, look, would you take a look at this with me? Because I think I see something that no one else has seen, and I don't think the authorities have seen it. Well,
Right.
I've got extremely bad eyesight. And I said, well, whatever. Okay, go ahead. So I started to look into the case, and like everyone else, I found it very interesting, diabolical.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, to cut a long story short, without me going into, well, I said to her and she said to me, basically what it was Cindy being in America had got, she was able to view things faster than we do in Europe. I'm sure you're aware of the European data protection laws. So we're a little bit slower to get things than they do in the States. But Cindy had
Is Cindy
seen
from is Cindy from the United States?
yes, she is.
Oh,
She
okay.
she she's in America, yeah. So she'd seen the neighbors' footage, and she said to me, "I think I can see the kids on the drive." I wasn't able to see this, but I was aware that there was movement that she was picking up on. As I say, I've got very bad eyesight. I'll be honest with you as well, all of yous. I'm lazy. I am lazy. Probably if I'd gotten a computer out and looked at it with a computer and slowed it down and blah, blah, I probably would have seen more. But I am lazy. And I use my phone and my iPad quite a bit. But she was right. She was saying something. And there were several things that I'd queried. There was information that was put out regarding cause of death and what have you, which wasn't adding up to the way that the story had been left open. In November, when Watts was sent down, he had first of all he'd constantly denied that he was responsible for um his
Murder.
children's passing.
Yeah.
And that was never cleared up by the authorities. The authorities had never come out with a blanket statement to say any different. So there was a lot of people on YouTube were holding the mother responsible. And the findings between Cindy and I pointed completely opposite to that there was no way that the mother could have done it.
Right.
So after quite a bit of digging
Mother,
and
you're talking about Shanann, right?
yeah. I don't like to say their names because I think they've been exploited enough online.
Mhm.
So I'm really don't like to say their names because there's been so much exploitation of this case. I'm so I try not to use it to try not to use their names personally.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, it was December. We had conducted some experiments in both our homes, and we came to the same conclusion, and we contacted the FBI and the CBI to let them know of our findings, as well as passing in still images of the shadows
So you
that Cindy
basically went through all the all of the neighbors' footage.
yeah, yeah. So the next thing was the FBI contacted Cindy, and they needed to check her out to make sure that she wasn't a wacko. They also contacted my police here in the UK to make sure I wasn't a wacko. And then I received a letter from the Director General of the FBI saying that he was aware of the queries and concerns that we had raised, and he was allowing the agents to correspond. Now, he also advised discretion online. He did advise discretion, um, which was more or less saying to us, don't go blabbing everything online, which we tried not to. But through correspondence with them, I think it maybe been third email, they asked me, what is it that you actually want? And I said, well, I want a statement from you guys to say that, the mother didn't kill her own kids. That's what I want you to do. I want the name cleared, because this
Right.
is picking up like wildfire on social media. And you may think social media is a nuisance, but these people are you're dealing with people that you don't want to be dealing with on here. So we want the name cleared. And that were basically it. So the next thing was we knew that the agents were going back out to interview us in February, but we weren't allowed to speak about that, and we didn't. We've never ever mentioned that and said, "Well, look, that was because of us." But I would say, 99.9% it was because of the information that we had passed on, um, regarding the shadows and also regarding the findings that we had. And as I say, we did conduct several experiments in our own home. I'm
How
still
can I
quite sorry.
imagine, like, how can I picture one of these experiments regarding the shadows and
Well,
stuff?
it would be measuring the amount of oxygen, saliva, skin cells that are on a pillow after a pillow has been used to suffocate a child. We actually, Cindy actually had that reenacted on herself to measure
Right.
the amount of carbon dioxide that was in the pillow,
Oh,
which
wow.
came back, negative. Well, sorry, the case in Colorado came back negative, but Cindy's pillow was full of it. So, when you use a pillow to suffocate someone, that pillow will have carbon
Hang on a
dioxide.
minute. Hang on a minute. 1 minute.
Hmm.
So you're saying the pillows came back negative of these
As
things,
as far as we
but
know,
that
yeah.
that was never made public. Who did tell you this?
No, no, no. I'm saying as far as we know, because there was nothing put out as an opposition to what Watts had said, even when he went down for his life sentences in November. There was never any of these things cleared up. Remember, if at the beginning he'd said he'd seen his wife putting a pillow over the children's faces, and that was never ever cleared up. That
Yeah,
was left. And, don't get me
yeah,
wrong, most sensible people realize that it was absolute nonsense, but there are people that will hang on to that. Hold on a minute, he said that he's seen her and nobody said anything different. So people don't want to let it go. And that's
right.
what we wanted. We just wanted the name cleared and to move on. However, we weren't able to do that because you've seen for yourself, this thing it's turned into an entity of its own. It's almost like a demon of its own on social media. It's social media's own murder, and people don't
Yeah,
want
that's
to let
true.
it rest.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but some of us, cannot. I mean, I'm blind to these things.
hmm.
I don't know, if somebody sends me footage and I get a lot of, oh, look at this, look at that, this could be something. And I just don't see it, To me, this shadow, like, it's obviously a shadow or something, either it's walking towards him or it's his own. It's undeniable something,
Hmm.
right? To me, then again, I'm no expert at all, right? But to me, blowing that up and trying to enhance it myself with my phone and all that rubbish, um, stuff I have to, I'm not a professional. I just don't see a child,
Hmm.
right? It doesn't look to me like a child. I think the proportions are wrong. There's no arms I see. There's no real head I see,
Hmm.
and I don't know. But do you know that did they ever tell you if a real technician or somebody who does that stuff like professionally from law enforcement um, investigated and looked at this material again?
Well, I'm not an FBI employee. I am not law enforcement either. I would say at a guess, due to with the correspondence that I personally received from the CBI,
Right.
that the FBI did take a look again at these with the presence of mind to look for shadows. Yes. I think
Mhm.
it was all rushed so fast. You know,
Yeah,
the
because
missing
he
person.
confessed, like, or
Pardon?
he took the plea,
Yeah,
right?
it
Was
was all so fast.
stopped.
So
Yeah.
I really don't know whether they continued investigating as they would do if it was an open case, because I think it was maybe a case of, yeah, we've got our man, we've got our confession, let's get him to jail. I think it might have been that. Like I say, I don't know. I don't work for the FBI, and I really wouldn't like to speak for them.
Hmm.
Um, I think that things were looked over fast. I'm not going to say that they didn't do their job. I'm not going to say that at all. But I
Yeah.
think because they had their confession, they didn't need to present evidence in court. So they didn't need to present carbon dioxide, saliva, and skin
Thank you,
cells
Jeanette.
in a pillow. They didn't need to do that.
Right.
They didn't need to give an explanation for lack of bodily fluids being found on bed sheets, mattresses, backs of trucks. They didn't have to explain any of that away because it didn't go to trial,
Yeah.
which left it
Yeah.
open. Unfortunately, a lot of people on social media didn't want to let it go. They wanted to continue investigating, and this is where it becomes dangerous, because if you don't have a background where you have a qualification, you've got no right in going on and on and on and on. If you look for wrinkles on your face, you're going to find them. And if you're going to
Absolutely.
look for things in a case, you're going to find them, and the case is closed.
Right.
Unfortunately, I made the mistake of, I don't know, I wasn't, certainly wasn't humor and ego, but I thought we were going to make a difference. I really don't know. But I stayed on it too long, and I am absolutely not interested in continuing with the case whatsoever.
Right.
No,
For.
no interest in it whatsoever. I don't speak about it on my panel or channel, and I won't have it discussed in the chat room. I'm done with it.
I mean,
I
it's
am
a
done with it.
very, very, with this case, like during that time, I mean, I was only watching in the background and, Facebook groups and listening here, listening there,
Mm-hmm.
but doing it myself, I think, in my own personal opinion, it's a very, very toxic case.
Yes.
And in regards of, you know, people hating on each other, it's just too much sometimes. And I don't understand this because we can talk about any other cases, right? Any other
Mm-hmm.
cases, and people are not getting into fights over opinions, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said, and I always say it, that's why I stay to the data
Mm-hmm.
kind of things, because I have absolutely no clue about autopsies or uh, trucks or stuff like that,
Yeah.
And for me, it's, you can have an opinion. Absolutely, you can have an opinion
Mm-hmm.
on these things like autopsies, but honestly, we can't even have an opinion on autopsies because we're no experts.
That's right. Yeah.
So I said in my previous life, I spent last week to read a 10-year study on autopsies and of decomposition. I
Mm-hmm.
would never have in a million years gone that far to educate myself into these things.
Mm-hmm.
When if I wouldn't do or investigate the Watts case.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's
this case brings a lot of people, and a lot of people you gotta be also careful about, because
right. Yeah.
sometimes I get emails, oh, I give you a conclusion about things because I work as this and that expert, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
a medical pathologist, or I'm
Oh,
this.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how can you, as a YouTube creator, and with no means or no stuff, no material or nothing and no clue, how can you figure out if this person is really real?
That's right. Well, I take most of them with a pinch of salt. The minute that someone sends me an email telling me that they're a doctor, I don't even finish reading it. It goes straight in the bin.
Right.
I'm
Well,
really not interested.
I called a couple of doctors like here in our university,
Mm-hmm.
medical examiners. We have a university, and I was asking some. At that moment, it wasn't weird to me that I'm asking these questions because I wanted to know. But
Mm,
what they must have thought, probably, she's completely nuts asking me about chloroform and all these things, right?
yeah.
But what always is in my mind and always in my head is they all said different things, but they all said one thing they were not disagreeing on. We
Mm-hmm.
did not see the autopsy reports in full.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't have it in front of me, so I
No.
cannot make a conclusion. I can tell you the chemical side of things about chloroform and at what time it leaves the body and stuff like that. But then again, I don't know who's the victim, the weight, I don't know the age, I don't know what surroundings the victim died, none of this.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a real expert, they are studying this stuff, right? They're studying this stuff and then they can give you a conclusion or an answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw, for example, and I'm gonna ask him if I can use this probably maybe on another live stream. Um, the channel, what is he called? True Crime Rocket Science, because so many people were saying because Shanann had a high or low, I don't know if it's high or low, blood alcohol level,
It was high.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So what this guy, I don't know what he is. He works in a laboratory or is a doctor, I can really not say for sure, but he made a complete report on the blood alcohol level, and
Mm-hmm.
it came out at the end for this channel, for the channel creator True Crime Rocket Science. So, and I read this, it's on the internet, and at the end um he made a conclusion and he broke down really, if you drink, for example, a glass of wine, how your body dissolves that, and and even after death, how what stays behind. And he came
Mm,
to the conclusion that her blood alcohol concentration equaled one glass of wine, only one glass of wine, but he doesn't know if it was one glass of wine, right?
mm-hmm.
Equaled one glass of wine about 12 to 14 hours before death.
Mm. Yeah, if she had gestational diabetes, that would also make the ethanol in the system rise, and the ethanol levels rise through decomposition too. The thing that I say now, without this, sounding abrupt or rude, I wasn't there. I
Exactly.
wasn't there. I was not part of the investigative team. I wasn't employed by the FBI or the CBI or the police. I didn't
Yeah.
kill anyone, and I wasn't witness to it. I did what I did at the beginning in an attempt to clear someone's name. That was it. Do I regret getting involved in it? Yes. Yes, because I believe that there was way too much video information that was released on social media. I do not think they should have allowed the amount of information to be posted on social media.
Yeah, but I don't think that they ever expected this to blow up that wide.
Yeah, I can give you that, but discretion. When you've got to look at all aspects. It could do. This could turn into something wild, or it could just be another case. But I think there was way too much information released to the public, and it was kind of for the first time the public were in some people's minds, they were investigating the case with the authorities, and this was where problems started on YouTube. Um, People thinking they were investigators, people claiming they were investigators, people claiming they were doctors, people claiming that they were former CBI employees. There was all sorts of nuts fell off the tree, and they rolled towards any channel that had anything to do with the Watts case. As I say, it became an entity of its own. And yeah, if I could go back, would I get involved? No, no,
Yeah.
hasn't done me any good whatsoever. I've
I
had
mean,
people try to
it,
contact my children, bothering my children, ringing my son up through Facebook. People spending an unholy, ungodly amount of time obsessing over my little grandson. People obsessing over my private life. So, and all of this came about due to the Watts case. So, no, even though I was trying to do a good turn, if I could go
but we
back
hear
in
that a
time, I
lot,
wouldn't bother.
We
Sorry?
hear that a lot. We hear that a lot back then when I was watching
Mm-hmm.
YouTube on that case, not really a clue about the depths of this case, right?
Mm,
And I saw more and more and more and more creators just go away, or
yeah.
totally delete their channels or whatever. There was one creator, especially, I can't remember her name, but she was always nice to listen to. And from one day to another, she was just simply gone. And then she made, I think, a little statement afterwards that the stress is just too much,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lolo. Lolo is saying this case has brought out the worst people. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's just the hate. It's the hate is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. And if you
Absolutely
try to
ridiculous.
stop doing it, you'll have problems too, because there are people, and I say this over and over again, but it is true. This case has given people that have usually would not be included in anything, and don't have any real reason to be communicating or be listened to. It's suddenly given them something to be part of. And if you're like ostracized, or you're a social misfit all your life, and then all of a sudden you're accepted, you're not going to give that up. And
Right.
there's a lot of that has happened too. Very, very unhealthy people.
Yeah.
And it's just what's case, and we're going on to nearly year 4, and
Right.
they're still wanting to talk about it, and obsess over it, and pick over it, and speak about these people like they know them. um
Yeah,
so
see,
yeah.
that's the thing. We think that we know the victims and the families and stuff because Shanann was very, very much present on social media, right?
Hmm.
And watching all her videos and her cooking in her kitchen and stuff, that makes us feel like we know these people, but we actually don't. We don't know
Yeah.
what went on behind closed doors. We only have messages from basically, talking data wise, from basically when she went to North Carolina to see her family. We have nothing what was before that.
Hmm.
And people are digging and digging and trying to dig into people's pasts and, bringing up all these kind of things, but nobody is really, sure about anything they dig up.
Well, that's right. And you know they've got no right to do that.
Yeah,
It's over and done with. And again, like I say, there was too much information released to the public.
right.
So it's almost like an entitlement thing.
Yeah,
I'm entitled to this. I want this. I want to see this. I should be allowed to say it. Well, no, you shouldn't. It's over and done with.
right.
We're going on to year 4 now. It's not going to change, and nobody on YouTube's going to change it. It's not like the director general of the FBI, or the attorney general in America is going to say, "Oh my God, we've got this all wrong because this person from YouTube has told us so. Cindy and I, it was a little bit different. She had a very long background in pediatrics, oncology pediatrics. So it wasn't like, we were asking for information. We were passing information to them and saying, could you look at this, please? Because we think XYZ. It wasn't like we went there with an attitude or entitlement issues. We contacted them with queries and asked them would they be interested in looking at it. That was it. But with so much information being put out there, it gave a lot of these people that, you know, that are for whatever reasons, they're interested in this, I don't know, where they thought that this was somehow it was their case and it was their right to look into it and their right to know about these people's private lives and their backgrounds and their friends and etc etc. That's
Yeah.
why they've never deviated away from the Watts case, because all of the work was done for them. You see, all of the work was available.
Right. Yeah. I
You
never
know.
saw. I mean, I knew you could request certain details and stuff about closed cases, but
Mm-hmm.
they pretty much threw it at us,
Yeah.
right? They pretty much
Yes.
made everything available, even though if it was in a redacted version
Mm-hmm.
and things were missing. When you requested the discovery in 2019, you now, if you request it, you get a completely different one. You don't
Yeah.
have all the digital files anymore and stuff like that. So maybe they learned something from their mistakes.
Well,
But I
yeah.
never thought and I never knew that you could. I mean, I knew you could request stuff from cases that already been solved, but not
Mm-hmm.
to that extent,
No, no, we
right?
didn't know that. Like I say, we went in to clear someone's name. It was becoming 70% against the mother. Everybody believed that she had done it, and
Yeah,
because it hadn't.
that's
Hmm?
because he said it, and this is
That's
what
right.
people got to see, and
Yeah,
then they started doubting Shanann.
that's right. That's right. And that's all we tried to do. We just wanted to clear her name and move on. We had no idea that going into year 4, we were going to be
Yeah,
so familiar with this and we were still going to be talking about it. We had no idea. And if we did, as I said, well, I can't really speak for Cindy, but I think I know her well enough to say, yeah, if she knew, no, she wouldn't have bothered either. It didn't
right.
change anything really, it truly didn't. Yeah, they may have went out and interviewed him. They may have already have been going to go out and interview him. I don't know. It seems very, very much of a coincidence that they, begin to listen to us and have conversations with us, and then all of a sudden they're booked on planes to go out and re-interview this guy. So, you know,
Yeah,
I can't
that's
say one way or the other.
yeah. Sleepless in South Africa is saying, I just think that any confession should be backed up by evidence, and I agree. I agree to that because obviously it was kind of BS what he told the investigators. And what comes out now, like all the confusion, and people start to dig because they want answers, because this case, like you said, was over way too quickly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right. And we cannot process this, right? We want answers. I
Mm-hmm.
personally believe he had help. You
Just,
don't believe that he had help,
yeah.
but with all these things that we found and data wise and stuff, you start thinking, hang on a minute, this doesn't add up.
Mm-hmm,
This doesn't add up. And then you're so helpless.
mm-hmm.
You have information, and I'm sure that 1,000 people a week call in to FBI or CBI. Oh, I saw this on YouTube. Please look into this. And they wouldn't even look into this,
That's right. They
right?
don't.
Or
It
did
goes
you get,
straight in the bin now. They don't. They
yeah,
don't take any notice of
because
anything.
the case is closed. And that would
Mm-hmm.
mean that they have to take money in their hands to look into this again, but it's already closed for them. So who
I
cares?
don't think with money they would do it. I really don't. But
Right.
you know, again, you go back to saying, you know, people are asking for things and people are looking for things, but that was because there was so much information available on social
Right.
media. If there had not been any of those interviews or any of that put on social media, you certainly would not have the interest that you do now. And you know, I'm not going to dispute what you're saying. Look, I'll be honest with you. Please don't take this the wrong way. I don't care. I don't care if someone was there, you know, and I hope that that doesn't sound abrupt or rude, but as I explained to you, I've had people meddle with my children, and that to me, no, there's nothing good is ever going to come out of that. So I don't care if there was someone else there. I know one person who wasn't there, and that was me. So I don't care anymore. I'm finished with it.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
know, look how many other cases have happened since then.
Right.
And yeah, you've got some interest, but they come and they go. Now, I do want to make something clear though, and I'm not being a smart arse, but when someone confesses, they usually do have evidence. They usually do have some bomb proof DNA or witness statements or whatever to accept that confession. So it's not like anybody can just go into the police in the States or in Europe and say, yeah, I committed this crime, and they'll arrest them and charge them forthwith. That doesn't happen. You know, the authorities have to have reason to accept that confession. And I understand that people want evidence, but sometimes it's cheaper just to do it as fast and fast track it as they can, get it through and move on to the next case. So
Yeah.
they don't always have to provide evidence to the public, even though the public may want it. They don't have to do that, but they don't accept it
What
unless they've got damn good reason to accept it.
Right. People are saying why do if you don't care why you're here. I think what
I
Bam
was
was trying
invited.
to say, I think what Bam was trying to say, you go through so much, when you look at people who went through hell just by looking into this case and stuff, of course they have enough from,
Hmm.
your family is first and your family's well-being is first. And then after that, everything else comes.
Hmm.
That's just my opinion. And if you experienced so much hate and stuff that's been going on, bullying or whatever, of course you say, oh my God, I walk away from it. I don't care about this case anymore. I
No,
don't, you
no,
know
I don't.
but I did not get, I mean, I did get bullied often, but not to the extent where I say, okay, I have to completely walk away from it, because I do care, and truly believe that he had help. And this is where I'm just like a pit bull. If I want to find this out, I truly do. Like, by no means, I'm not an expert at all. Like,
Hmm.
I start with autopsy reports or this stuff. Even reading it is a bunch of gibberish to me. I don't
Yeah,
understand it, right? But the data side, yeah, I do.
yeah.
Well, I do now. I educated myself on it, but the rest, nah.
No, it's a
I
rabbit
I
hole, and
can't
once
speak
you go
about it
down it,
because I don't know. I
yeah,
can't speak about
you
it
just
because I
keep
don't
on
know.
asking questions, you know, and
Yeah,
nothing's going to change the outcome. You know,
yeah.
nothing is going to change that. Nothing. There was a plea, it was accepted, and that's it.
But don't
There's
you find it
nothing is going to change
strange?
that.
Don't you find it strange that his defense team actually offered that plea to the DA?
Hang on, TJ, I can't hear you. Do you know, from StreamYards did their last update, I can't hear a thing. I've got to keep the device to my ear. Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, I said, don't you find it strange that that his defense team actually forwarded a plea draft, or what it's called, to the DA?
No, no. I think it was him. I think he was adamant that he wanted to get it over and done with as fast, and I think the DA was um, adamant that he had done it and he had done it alone. So the DA was happy to accept it. I think if the DA had thought for a minute that there was help or there was someone else there, then he would have asked for it to go to trial. They would have come to some agreement or some deal where the death penalty was lifted so that whoever else had assisted Watts, if he had believed this, would be prosecuted and punished forthwith. But I don't believe that the authorities or the district attorney found that to be the case. I think they believed that they were dealing with one perpetrator and they want to get it into court and to prison as fast as possible, to wrap it up as fast as possible.
Right. The good night owl saying, if evidence provided in the discovery to which the taxpayers are entitled to see implicates accomplices,
Mhm.
then it is the public's, taxpayers' right to pursue justice for the victims.
I don't know. I don't work for the Senate in the states, so I really don't have any opinion on that
Mm.
one way or the other, and I don't know anything about it. It's different here. It's very different in the UK. We're not entitled to discovery files or inside information. We don't get that kind of thing here. I think that was why a lot of us were interested in it too, because it was available to us. You
Yeah,
know,
that
and
was completely new, right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
in,
Having an inquisitive nature will it'll draw you in.
I
Like I
mean,
say, I repeat, I was asked to get involved.
the most, the
I
most
didn't do
thing
this
you get.
myself. Come on, Fluky,
Oh,
move.
sorry, I didn't want mean to interrupt you. The most thing you get here is probably a phone number in the telephone book, right?
Yeah,
If there are even any existing anymore.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is also much protected, the identities of people, then
Mm-hmm.
we don't get to see, like you said, discoveries of cases, not even if a
No,
case is closed. You cannot request anything of this. You're not even allowed to go into a courtroom if something like this, goes to court. And you
mm-hmm.
get very, very little coverage. Like we don't have that here, that a whole court case, like for example, the Casey Anthony case,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That was broadcasted like a Hollywood show,
That's right. Yeah,
right? You would
yeah.
would not see that here. I don't know about South Africa or other places in Europe, but I never seen anything like it. Never.
No, no, no. Neither did any of us. So I think that was there was a lot of information to work with. There was a
Yeah,
lot of interviews to look at and police interviews. We don't get that. We certainly don't get to see that here. Like there's one or two TV shows 24 hours in police custody, but not on that scale. With the amount of media attention, they certainly wouldn't show you interviews and what have you. So, like I say, I really don't know. If taxpayers are unhappy with what the district attorney has done, that then maybe take it up with the commissioner in his area. I really don't
right,
know, but I certainly haven't got anything to say on it. I'm not interested in the case anymore. I won't
right.
cover it anymore. I don't think that there's going to be any changes in it. I
I
don't
am
think that
very
there's going to be any
interested.
more arrests either.
I am very interested, and I'm gonna fight because I know something is fishy. I know it. But yeah,
Mhm.
like I said in the beginning, we have different opinions on that, right?
Mhm.
Debbie is saying, "What said I knew on Saturday it was going to happen, but did nothing to stop it. Who was he with on Saturday? I wished I went to the game He said maybe something would have clicked in my head and hers. Hmm.
Well, yeah, look, it's entirely up to you. Look, you are allowed to have your own opinion, and that's absolutely great. You do whatever you've got to do.
Absolutely.
Um,
I have another question. If
mhm.
when you and your friend forwarded to the FBI, did they ever, after they interviewed him or before that, did they ever, ring you up and say, um,
No,
yeah, and that happened or
no,
anything?
no, no.
So,
There wasn't anything. They didn't give us any inside information. No,
yeah,
as I say, we got an email from the Director General and correspondence with a couple of the agents' secretaries. That was it. But we were advised discretion, and we've stuck to that. We have stuck to that to this day. To be honest with you,
yeah,
there's still things that we don't go into, and I've got no intentions of doing it again. I have moved on from the case, but no, they definitely didn't give us any heads up or inside classified information. No.
yeah, you would have thought that, that but they wouldn't even admit it. So many YouTube creators probably forwarded information that was really helpful for them,
Hmm.
right? And they just, I wouldn't say claim it as their own, but they don't, they look into these things and then they just don't, they wouldn't say, oh, a YouTube creator found this and that, because let's be honest, I mean, you're the authority and you're law enforcement. I mean, I wouldn't wanna think, I wouldn't want the public to think I'm completely useless and I have to get things from YouTube creators to look into this stuff, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think the mistake that was made was the information being uploaded to social media. As far as I'm aware, it was two journalists that was requesting the video, the body cam videos and the information from the interrogations. And they're allowed to do that. Journalists are allowed to request that in the States, I believe. And
Absolutely. We saw
yeah,
all the emails in the discovery. They're still there.
right, okay. So it was these two that started to upload it. And as you know, once it goes on Google, that's it. It's in the public forum then. It just spreads and spreads and spreads and spreads. A bit like a virus, really. So, there's nothing you can do to stop that. Maybe if they'd put a stop to it right away, it would never have become what it's become, because I believe it's become something quite dangerous on social media. I think it's attracted some very unsavory and unhealthy people.
Right.
And that was why I didn't want to continue with it, because I'm not interested. I come on YouTube and I come off again, and I expect people to respect that. When people start to try and force their way into my private life, I'm going to react very, very violently against that. And I found that people were doing that because they wanted more and more and more on the Watts case, and I wasn't prepared to do it.
Right.
So I've stayed
Yeah.
away from it, and I've got no intentions of going back to it.
Sad. I will be staying here for the rest of the time until
God
my
help
time
you.
is up, I think. You know. Yeah, I'm just too convinced that there was somebody else. I'm just too convinced. All right, you
Well,
guys. What? Sorry?
I was just going to say, I hope that, if there is a change to be made, I hope that you do it. I
Yeah,
like you. I think you're a very nice girl. You're smart. You're switched on. You've got a great personality. So I hope that if there is something else there that's been missed. I hope that you find it. I really do, and I hope you get credit for it as well.
Oh, I doubt that.
Well, you never
Absolutely.
know.
Nah, I don't think so. And it's not about the credit. Like, right? You and your friend, you sent this in, all that stuff,
Mhm.
because nobody really cleared Shanann,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And my mission is to find out and to kind of prove that this case was handled way too quickly. They did
Mhm.
not look into anything, and there's still the possibility that there was somebody else. And I think I believe it. I truly do.
Mhm.
I truly do. I know you do disagree.
No,
Yeah,
but you know that's fine. You can have your opinion, and I can have mine. Like I say, I wasn't there,
absolutely. Yeah, but that
and
doesn't mean we cannot have a discussion, right?
sure,
About
absolutely,
this and about your experience. And
yeah.
Dawn wants to know, can you please repeat what you said about the CO2 in the pillow?
The well, as far as we know, there wasn't any detected. I'm like I say, we're going back nearly 4 years, so I can't remember, but that was never brought up in court, and it was never ruled out in court that pillows had been used as as a method to terminate life in that residence.
Yeah, he just
Um,
said he saw her smothering them, but he did not
yeah,
say, I can't remember if he said with
I
pillows
think
or
he
what.
did. I think that there was reference to a pillow made, and that was why Cindy, she conducted her own experiment at home. Then there was the story that he used his hand on the children's face with a blanket on it, but conveniently the blanket was never found. Again, if the blanket had been found, there would have been carbon dioxide, saliva, skin cells. So there was none of these ever detected any on any material anywhere, and there was no evidence of an attack happening in the back of the truck either. A body voids at the time of death.
Yeah,
So
but
if there had have, sorry,
then again, if there was nothing detected in that truck,
uh
his
huh,
confession, his Wisconsin confession is not right. Because
no,
if nothing is detected in that truck that somebody
mm-hmm,
died in there, or
mm-hmm,
the dogs did not hit really on the trucks and
mm-mm,
stuff like that. So how comes we all see those shadows?
mm. Yeah, there was nothing that forensically proved that there was any murders happened in the back of that truck either. There was absolutely nothing. And
Right,
and even if he had have tried to clean up, there still would have been some bodily fluids found, if you know what I mean.
right.
So yeah. Yeah, I do. I do think that he told a pack of lies. I'm not going to say, oh, he sat there and he told the truth from start to finish. I don't believe most of what he said. And if there was someone else involved, as I've said, good luck. I hope you do find them. Personally, I don't think that there was, but I've been wrong before. I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Right. No, nobody, none of us was there.
No.
Yeah. I think this case will follow us for a little while. Still, your dog is snoring.
Yes, he is.
And yeah, so Bam, if you would stay a while on here, please, while I
Hmm.
end this live stream.
Okay.
Guys, I just wanted to say thank you for all your positive comments. Also, thank you for your negative comments. I truly appreciate everybody. I'm just a person, I want to make up my own mind, and I want to, see for myself and hear for myself. And yeah, I hope anyway, no matter what, you enjoyed this. And I hope I'm going to have you again on my panel because I really enjoyed talking to you. And
As
this
long
is
as we can talk about something other than the what's case, yes.
absolutely. I'm having I'm not pressured like in the what's case directly. I want
Mm.
to do other cases as well. You
Okay,
know,
yeah.
I want to do, I have a series coming up. I called it Once Upon a Crime,
Hmm.
where really solved cases, we're going to talk about and discuss. And I think there are so many interesting and shocking cases. I mean, the Ted Bundy or Richard Ramirez cases, get talked over and over and over again, right?
Mm.
But it's still fascinating, isn't it?
Well, Bundy was only accredited to 30 murders, but we believe that he did
Only,
more than 100, you
only.
know? Well,
Yeah,
that's what I mean. We believe he did more than 100.
absolutely.
So, yeah, there's 70 other people to be
They could all,
investigated. There's 70 other faces to show and 70 other names to show, aside from
right,
Ted Bundy's.
right. Absolutely. I mean, they could only prove like 30 or 32, right?
I think it was 30 they accredited him to.
Right. Okay, you guys, it was nice. It was an honor. And yeah, I just want to say, with all the negativity out there, I'm not playing part in this. I don't want to. I don't have to. I I don't even know what else to say to this. Um, I hope people who know me know who I am and how I act. But let me just tell you this, guys, because of the ongoing stuff, and this has nothing to do with Bam. I'm sorry, Bam, that you are here hearing this, what I'm going to
It's
say.
okay.
But, I don't do background searches on people. I don't do these things, okay? I don't I don't dig into their private life. Well, I go with, if I like a person and a person is sympathetic to me, I go with and I believe, this has something to do with a little bit trust in people. And if I come across that, what people did in their lives or in their with their past, I don't know these things, right? And I cannot be held responsible for what other people are doing in their lives. And I cannot be accused of knowing, condoning, especially violence against women. I cannot condone it. I don't condone it. I'm a woman myself. I have a daughter. And you just got to keep in mind, you guys, we don't know people in depth, we don't know ourselves sometimes. And if stuff like that comes as a surprise and stuff like that um comes up, the person or your friends cannot be held responsible for what you do. This would be the same if I kill somebody and I say, yeah, my friend, oh, she knew about that murder. I'm not freaking NK, right? And what people do in their private time and what people do on Facebook, I know I don't know 90% of what my friends on Facebook do because I don't care, right? I don't dig into people's lives, but I do have something against being accused of knowing and condoning violence against women, right? Violence against women. How disgusting is that? Of people to say, I knew this, I was part of this shit, sorry for swearing, came to me new, just like as it came as a surprise to you guys, right? And I find that absolutely disgusting. that I get pulled into things I did not know anything about. And I don't want to be on here shouting and yelling, but and I don't need to defend myself because I have a pure heart. I'm an honest person. And of course I get angry. Of course I say things I probably regret back in the future. I do all these things. I'm only human, right? But if people come along your way, you get to know a lot of people, but do you really know them? You don't really know them until you get to know them, right? I'm not the person, like I said, I always want to make up my own mind about people. I want to, you know, make up my own opinion and whatever, right? I don't judge anyone and I don't want to be judged. Like I always say, a lot of people know me, but they don't know me well. And you cannot go on and say, I'm involved in this, or I had anything to do with this. You condone this. You don't say anything. This is your friends, right? No, I don't. I did not know, and this is new to me. And I learned about all this stuff that's been going on the second you guys learned about this stuff, right? I'm defending my friends. Of course, I'm defending my friends. Everybody would defend their friends, and you in some stage of disbelief. But if you hear only half truth, and the other 50% is hidden from you, what can you do? Right? What can you do? Make up your own opinion, people, honestly. And I gotta say this, and I truly say it with a heavy heart. If you want to follow me, if you're interested in what I do, in my person, who I am, then stay. If you listen to gossip, drama, bullshit that's been going on, people accusing me of stuff, yeah, then please leave. I don't need people who put a knife into my back. I don't need it. None of you need this.
Well said.
Right? No, it makes me kind of angry because, if I say something and if I make mistakes, I'm only human. You
Hmm.
know, I can say, you know what, that was really a shit non-Chuck Norris move from me. Right?
Hmm.
I can say that. I'm grown. I'm a grown ass woman. I do swear. I do this. I do that. Absolutely. But everybody does.
Yeah.
Right? And if I hear like, oh, getting accused of things and have to defend myself in front of my supporters, no. Because people who like me and people who know how I am and who I am, they will follow that route with me.
Yeah.
Everybody else, please stay away from me. Stay away from me. Stay away from my channel. If you want to have gossip, the gossip channel and drama channel is 2 doors down. This is not what you will hear here. I
Well
can't
said.
stand it. I get anxiety attacks. I just can't.
Hmm. Well, don't let
It's
it get you
just
that
so
much.
unfair.
Switch it on, switch
Really
it
unfair.
off.
Yeah, switch it on, switch it off, but it still rotates in your head,
Don't let it push it out of your mind. Think about something you enjoy thinking about.
right? I
You don't owe
mean,
anyone an explanation or anything else. You've said what you've said. You don't need to say anymore.
yeah, I don't own anyone an explanation. That's true because people who like me and people who know who I am, and I always give second chances. I give
Yeah.
3 chances. I was bullied. I was threatened. I still accepted apologies. Still, I was hurt, of course. If somebody says to you, oh, I want information about you, the first thing that comes to my mind, oh my God, my children.
Yeah.
What the
Exactly.
actual F, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is I don't even think about me. I couldn't care less because I can defend myself. But what I heard from YouTube, how people are going crazy, this is mental, guys. This is mental. Nobody can say I condone what happened because I did not know any of this. I'm not stalking people. I'm not going around people. I'm not there every minute on YouTube. I'm not. I have a job. I have a family. I have other friends. This is not the the main focus of my life. I do that because it's my hobby. I like investigating cases. I like finding new things. I like to talk to people. I like all these things. But to put somebody down, for what? Is it for clicks? Is it for money? Right? For what is it? Money? Clicks? No. It's
I,
not
I
about
don't know.
money and clicks for me. You guys know I donate all my super chats and all that stuff. You guys know that, right? If I need help, I never ask for help. I never ask anyone for help. And everything I did in my life, I did on my own. And then some people coming up saying you condone violence against women. Are you kidding me? No, absolutely not. Thank you, Ali. Absolutely not. It just makes me sick. It truly does. They get people sucked into this stuff, and all I tried to do was trying to be a friend to a friend. Of course, my advices were not taken for obvious reasons because I only knew half truth. But this is something I have to battle with myself. So I think it needed to be said. All right, you guys. Sorry for ranting. I just felt like saying this. And like I said, everyone who is nice and respectful and who knows me is welcome to stay. Everybody else who thinks that, I'm guilty of whatever I did, leave. It's as simple as that. It's a click, unsubscribe, leave. I'm not putting up with this any longer. All right, you guys, I hope you have a good night. Stay out of drama. It's not good for your health. And I see you tomorrow. Definitely
Thank you
continue.
for having me. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Bye bye.